Because I think a lot of people out there, right, we got to break it down into bits and pieces. What influences pricing in the housing market? And I think it takes us to maybe economics 101, supply and demand, right?
We definitely need here every Friday with us.
Because she knows what she's doing, but
Welcome to another episode of the Real Talk Miami. I'm Luis Perez, and as usual, I'm joined by Javier Gonzalez, Jasmine Mousse, three real estate professionals here in Miami, Florida. And we want to bring you guys the inside scoop on all real estate trends, business insights, and financing tips. We want to be your go-to source for all things real estate here in Miami, Florida. On this podcast, as usual, we'll always be talking amongst ourselves about industry trends, amongst other things, and we'll also be interviewing industry leaders and professionals from all walks of life. Real people, real stories, real talk. A lot of stuff to talk about. Elections.
economy.
Yeah, a lot of movement like these last 2 weeks.
Yeah, and the market is crazy. The Federal Reserve cut interest rates again.
Yeah, but you saw the graphics today?
Yeah,
It
it's
went
going
up.
up.
It
It's
went up
going up.
again,
Yep.
so I corrected.
It's going up.
Yeah, so there's a lot going on in the market right now. I can guess, I can assume there's going to be a lot more, even in January. It's going to be a lot crazier than now.
Absolutely, yeah, man. I mean, you also have inventory levels. They continue to rise. I think last time I checked for Miami-Dade County, we had about 4,600 homes, single-family homes. Single-family homes. And I remember today, last year, it's probably under 3,000. So a lot has changed. Supply is going up. Interest rates are going up as well.
That's going to impact prices mostly.
Yeah.
That's our main topic today, pricing.
Pricing. I mean, I think it would be an understatement if we didn't say that the real estate market was just volatile. So we're gonna see the highs and we're gonna see the lows. And now we just gotta see what's coming next. But I think it's a high, if anything. So, and you mentioned pricing.
Yeah, pricing of if you go to the graphics to predictions for next year, it's a rise between 3 and 4 point something. I think 4.2.
The prices for homes or just general?
Yeah, homes. Yeah, it's like a whole graphics. It's not segment like condos or single family. It's just homes.
That's not bad.
That's the appreciation projected for next year. So that's not bad.
Yeah, it's not bad. I mean, it's kind of on pace, I guess you could say, with the inflation that we have, in a sense.
Of
right?
course.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't expect real estate prices to keep increasing like at the rate that it did with COVID 2021.
No.
I don't know what happened there. It just triggered something in everybody's head that some areas the prices went up over 100%, from 300,000 to 600,000.
Yeah, it's. I think that inflation, like you said, it's a key factor there because there was a lot of cash going inside the economy during COVID, and that's definitely, I think that's one of the, if not the main, one of the main causes that forces the inflation going up.
Yeah.
So besides that, there was a lot of money influx here to Florida, here especially to Miami, from other states, from out of the country. So definitely, those are the key factors from my point of view. Key factors pricing going up, as they did in 2-3 years ago.
I mean, I think that brings us to, because I think a lot of people out there, right, we got to break it down into bits and pieces. What influences pricing in the housing market? And I think it takes us to maybe economics 101, supply and demand, right?
Yeah.
So I think back in 2020, there's just a lot of demand, very little supply, and that is what led to those multiple offer scenarios. I mean, you guys saw it firsthand. So, but definitely we get into supply and demand, and I think real estate is just, it goes hand in hand with that supply and demand. And right now what we're seeing is inventory is going up, right? So our supply is going up. Is the demand there? Would you guys say that the demand is there?
No, absolutely it is. I mean, you see it all the time. The graphics, Colombia, Argentina, Brazil, Mexico as well now, New York. A lot of people are buying here. Obviously, that's going to affect more the people who have lived here their whole lives.
They're being outpriced.
Yeah, they're being outpriced from people that have a lot higher incomes that are coming down here, and obviously they're being completely outbid when it comes to trying to buy a property. Another thing that I wanted to add, damn, it's at the tip of my tongue. I don't remember. I lost myself.
No worries.
Yeah,
I have seen an exodus out of state too. There's a lot of people that have seen the prices going up here in Florida from housing, from rent too, because rents have gone up too. And a lot of people have said, you know what, I'm moving out. Maybe to Orlando, to Northern Florida, because it's a really nice place.
La Belle, Fort Myers.
Yeah, Fort Myers.
Lehigh.
Lehigh. Yeah, those are places that are still, let's say, between most people's budget for buying a home. And there has been an exodus. I personally have friends. I actually have neighbors that left the state.
I mean, I think all of us here know people that have moved out of Miami.
No, man, and with La Belle and Lehigh, because my brother actually moved up there. He has a neighbor that they drive to the airport to work here in Miami International Airport.
From Lehigh to here.
Yeah, because that's how bad the prices are here. Now, one thing about Lehigh and La Belle, and I always say this because, I believe it to be true. It's cheap relative to Miami, Florida, but it's not really that cheap when you put it into perspective, because here we have a completely developed economy and, so many things to do. And over there, I've been there on several occasions. I'm not batching anything, the homes are nice, but there's really not much to do. And you're paying $350,000 for the house.
I have that feedback from a lot of people too. I have seen videos of people complaining about let's say the global economy in the area, especially in Lehigh.
Yeah.
People complaining even from the roads. People complaining for a lot of stuff. So it's for me, if I were going to purchase a house there and I'm seeing that in, let's say, a new neighborhood, you see those kind of issues, I'll think about that twice, because
but unfortunately there are people that just they can't afford to think about it. Miami is not in it for them right now.
Choose somewhere else. Don't choose Lehigh.
I know. But then again, I guess we would have to do like an out of studio interview to those people, because that would be something.
Yeah, that would be interesting to know. To know what's in the people's mind to buy the cheapest, to buy the place.
I think it's that they want to remain close to Miami, but they just can't afford the Miami lifestyle, right? So Lehigh, Fort Myers, La Belle, it's relatively close, right? It's an hour and a half, an hour, 45 minutes, max 2-hour drive. Yeah. So if you have family down here, friends, right? It's just a quick drive on the weekends. You're relatively close. In the case of that neighbor, right, they have to, which is a huge sacrifice, they have to come down.
That's an extreme case.
I know.
And a lot of people, the reason they think they're moving over there is because a lot of people think that it's going to become Miami, I guess.
No, it's going to grow, but it's not going to become Miami.
I would say that in 15, 20 years, it will
There's
be
only
a
one
completely different
Miami.
place.
There's only one Miami.
No, Miami's...
It'll be a city. It'll grow into a large place, but the next Miami, I mean, come on. I don't think so.
It's hard.
I mean, take for instance Homestead. I've heard people say Homestead took about 20 years to turn into what it is today, and even Homestead is still in the process of being developed. So you get places like, right, those little towns up north, they're going to develop. It's just going to take a longer amount of time.
Absolutely.
But I mean, let's not talk about Lehigh and La Belle, because we're not in Lehigh. I think that people want to know what's going on in Miami and the pricings. How is it that we as realtors, realtor associates, how do we price a home?
Well,
right?
I was making a video about that today, so that's why I brought you guys to the thing. It came to my mind because it's interesting, and you see firsthand what's happening here with pricing. So let's first say this: we're not allowed to price a house. We cannot set a price. We cannot set. I cannot tell anybody your house is worth $450,000. I cannot say that because I'm not allowed. I'm not a certified appraiser. What we do usually is run a CMA, comparative market analysis, and find out the worth of the neighborhood, the houses around, how's the market, how's competition, what's the offer, what can we find where you want to buy or sell a house. That's the way we come with a number, but it's not the final number. It's not like it's the final number, just to let the public know. It's not the final number. The appraiser is going to set the final number. We are going to come up with a really close number because CMAs are really precise tools, and we are used to, we pick most of comparatives, and we try to do it the best way possible. We're going to come up with a really close number to, let's say, what the appraiser is gonna appraise the property.
Well, it's basically just an estimate of what's
Yeah.
going on in the market, right? So you gotta, from the minute that you get your license, that's one of the 101s that you should get
Yeah.
when you come out of school. So typically when you're doing a CMA, it depends on the type of property, but let's assume we're doing a single family, right? It's the typical, let's check actives in the area. Let's check pending sales. Let's check closed sales, right? Typically between, within the last 180 days, right? It can be anywhere between 0.5 miles to a mile from the property.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the typical standard. That's how you get to the number. Now, something that I think you guys can add on to is it's not just the number on paper, right? Same as when you get your license, you have your license, but then you got to put it into practice. Same thing with the CMA. We can give you a number that we estimate, but we still have to see the property in person.
Yeah,
Because one thing is
course,
what we
absolutely.
see on paper. Another thing is what you see when you get to be in the property in person. The condition of the house. Have there been any additions that don't come out on what we call IMAP, the property tax roll, right? What differs, and I think that's important for the audience to know, right? We give you a number, but critical part is you have to see the property in person.
Yeah, I personally, I mean, I do half a mile radius max or up to 0.75. But first I always try to focus on whatever subdivision the single family home is. So if it's, I don't know, Oak Creek Park Homes, I want to focus on that subdivision and see if we have enough sales going on in the area or actives, because that's going to give you a really specific and accurate number. If I have at least 2 or 3 properties to work with, I think I could give a pretty accurate estimation. And then, of course, you also want to look at the square footage of the property, both interior as well as the lot size. Is there anything that separates this house from this house? For example, if this one has a pool, you could probably add $25,000 to the ask price. If it doesn't, deduct. And you got to work those things out. Now, obviously, that could become a problem with some type of sellers, because some people, they're very emotional, I guess you could say. The emotional sellers are harder to deal with because they see what's going on. I mean, that house over there is sold for $1 million. Yeah, but your house is not that house. That house is twice your size. It has a fully remodeled kitchen. It has a pool, a jacuzzi. It has so many things that yours doesn't. And so navigating that is, one of the, I guess you could say, best ways of getting a really good price on a home.
But I think you need to go into detail. So you say the word difficult seller, right? So what are the cons?
Emotional.
But I think it's important to say at the end of the day, they're hurting themselves, right? Because however many emotions you have, right? And they're worthy of those emotions. It's their home. They've raised their family there, memories, whatever it is. But at the end of the day, the more unreasonable you are or unaware you are of market conditions, right? You're hurting yourself, because the property is going to be on the market for X amount of days, right? And the longer you are overpriced, the truth of the matter is, the less likely it is going to sell, because you are not priced correctly.
You have to also to add to that. I mean, if I talk to this seller and they tell me, I need to sell this property in 2 months because I got a job in North Carolina, and they want to price it to what I believe is $100,000 to $150,000 overpriced, you're gonna have a sit down with them, a calm conversation, and let them know, look, you're the owner of this property. I completely respect your opinion and the worth. I'm willing to list it at that price, but you have to believe me when I tell you that if within 10 days we haven't gotten a single phone call, a single showing request, nothing, you should definitely open up to the idea of reducing the price on the property, because you have to move in 60 days. Closings typically take 45 days. If there's anything that happens towards the end, you're going to have to extend it. And you don't want to take that risk.
Of course, people have this ideal price because maybe one of their neighbors sold their house, or the number they heard in the market is
The number they
hot.
want to pocket.
It's maybe it's a seller's market and there's not too much offer. I don't know. People come with a number in their heads and they say, I want $500,000 from my house. I'm not gonna lower the price, no matter what. And you can find in the neighborhood similar houses. That's a principle of substitution. Nobody's gonna pay more for anything. Not even a house, a phone, a car.
No.
If they can spend the same amount of money and get the same result, the same product,
Yeah.
the same service, than the one is it's selling a higher price.
And I think that's why it's important when they're meeting with an agent, right? And hopefully they meet with one of us, right? It's important to ask your agent to show you the numbers, right? The numbers speak for themselves.
Yeah.
So look at the reports, have your agent show you the numbers, the comparables, houses in the area. And if there are houses that are active in the area, go and take a look at them for yourself. Compare the property to your house and be realistic. Because I think in real estate, there are two reasons why properties don't sell. Number one, lack of exposure. Number two, incorrect pricing, right? If you don't price a property correctly, then nobody's going to want to see the house. And if you don't give it enough exposure and the property is priced correctly, then who on earth knows that the property is a steal, right?
I have a story about that. There's a house listed near my house, near where I live. It's listed for $778,000. We are talking about Miami Gardens.
Miami Gardens.
Miami Gardens. we already know the prices are around their houses. The house says it has 8 rooms.
8.
Yeah, it says 8 or 7. I don't quite remember.
I'm assuming some of
looked
those
for
are
the
going to be
listing.
legal.
My wife saw it and she told me, we got to take a look at that. And I told her, there's no way that house has 7 bedrooms. There's simply no way. There's no room for it.
Yeah.
They cut the bedrooms in 2. They did something. I don't know. I've been personally into 7. I've been personally into a 7-bedroom house, and that house is massive. It's just massive.
Of course.
There's room for, I don't know, playing football inside the house.
Did you check out the house in Miami Gardens? Was it?
No. I didn't.
never went?
I never went to that house because I know it's not going to sell.
You know
they're
what's
gonna have to drop
happening?
the price.
You know what's happening nowadays, and it's not so much of the price. And I think our viewers out there, they have to be careful because what's going on, unfortunately, is a lot of people they're posting scams online. A lot on Facebook Marketplace, they're promoting these properties that, in your case, $778,000 for a 7-bedroom home. Come on, that's I mean, if it is, there are a bunch of illegal additions into that room, into that house, but there's a lot of scams going on. They're promoting homes, and people that are not familiar with the Miami market because they come from another state, they come from another country, they fall for it, and that they're not familiar with the market at all.
You guys saw the news where they tried to scam somebody.
No.
You didn't saw it?
But
They tried to scam someone in a purchase of a house with AI.
Oh my.
They developed like a.
No, I
it was a real person. It was an old lady, nice old lady. She was doing like this. They were doing the purchase online. They were doing other transactions online, but they noticed like a real. I don't know the way to say it. And the broker started to ask questions, and the bot started to gave the wrong answers on nonsense.
horrible.
That's one of the dangers of AI.
And they were signing the contract.
Oh my.
But you know what? That's why the real estate business is never going to go out of fashion.
Of course.
Because you always need the human touch, right? A robot can give you a standard answer, but at the end of the day, they don't have the experience to check out the property in person, give you an estimate based on your experience, on your knowledge. And I think that's really important. And then also, I mean, talk about robots like Zestimate, right? They give you an estimate on what the property is worth, and half of those times those estimates are incorrect. They're either undervaluing the property or they're overvaluing the property. I believe we talked about a case study. I don't remember the case too well, but something about the owner of Zillow listing their property.
I have a client that bought a property last November for $800, and on Zestimate is showing us $700. So a year later.
Yeah.
And
So it's incorrect.
that area is, I mean,
And that's a robot. There we go. That's an automatic thing. So if you go by robots, I mean, you're misleading yourself. So I think that's why it's important to consult a realtor that knows and is familiar with the area.
Sometimes we talk to people, and people maybe they want to sell their houses, and they check the price in Zillow, the price at Zillow's, or let's not only say Zillow, any website out there, Realtor.com, whatever it is, not just to narrow it to Zillow, whatever it is. We just started saying that we cannot set the price because it's we can only do comparative. So people go with the number that those websites show them, and they think that's a law. We have to sell at that price. When sometimes it happens that, or it happens that's happened to your client.
What do you do in the case that a seller is reluctant to take your advice with regards to pricing? Because we all know when we need legal advice, we go to an attorney. We've said this before. We need medical advice, we go to a doctor. We take their recommendation, right? We take their word for it. So in the case of real estate, sometimes it's a little bit different. But what is your work ethic or policy when it comes to a seller that wants to dramatically overprice your home? Because at the end of the day, right, it's not listing a house, it's actually getting it sold. And I think a lot of agents out there, maybe they think listing. Okay, but are you getting the property sold? So what do you guys do in that case?
Well, I mean, the same way when you go to a doctor, when you go to an attorney and you ask for advice, that doesn't mean you're going to take it.
Yeah.
The doctor could tell you have high blood pressure, you need to stop eating junk food, and the person will sit there and say, what do I care?
But do you take on the listing for the...
Well, that's a good question. It just depends. Is it reluctant, like I'm never going to change the price, or is it more like, no, let's give it some time. Let's give it 3 months. I'm not in a hurry to sell or anything like that. Depending on the person, and even the person that says, no, I'm not going to ever drop the price, forget about it. When they get the right offer sitting in front of them, you'll see how quickly that reluctancy could go, especially if they have a need to sell. So you have to identify the motivation first. The motivation.
That would be my approach, leaving them the time so they can realize that the house is not going to sell just because they want to sell it at $100,000, $200,000 more than the actual price of the market. Because at the end of the day, the market's going to rule the price.
Always.
Not him, not us, not anyone. The market's going to rule the price because if, I don't know, let's say you want to buy a Hialeah, you have 10 houses for sale in the area you want to buy, you're not going to pick the expensive one. You're going to pick whatever fits your needs and your budget.
Absolutely.
And you're going to find, because you will find. There's always somebody willing to sell. There's always somebody selling, actually.
Willing to buy, yeah.
Yeah. So
what's it say? How does the saying go? One man's junk, another man's treasure? Something like that?
Exactly.
Something like that.
Not that people's homes are junk. I'm just saying it reminds me of the quote, because you're selling your home, someone is going to be the right person, and someone's going to find the same appeal that you found in your home X amount of years ago.
En Cuba decíamos, siempre hay un roto para un descosido.
Nunca había oído eso.
That's a phrase
Never
in
heard of that
Spanish,
one.
because it means you're always going to find that one.
Okay.
That's going to...
Yeah, and to them, the price doesn't matter. Because at the end of the day, price is what you pay, value is what you get.
Yeah.
That's always...
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I learned that from Warren Buffett.
From Warren Buffett.
Warren Buffett.
Shout out to Warren Buffett. He should sponsor our program. And talking about sponsors, we got to mention our sponsors. Big thank you to Century 21 Girard Realty. Our office is located on 7281 Coral Way. And for all of your real estate needs, whether you need to buy, sell, or rent, feel free to contact us, right? Century 21 Girard Realty Professionals. And for all of your plumbing needs, whether it's residential and or commercial plumbing, please feel free to call Lion Plumbing, our second sponsor. Lion Plumbing is located in Doral, and their phone number is 305-597-4555. So big thank you to our sponsors.
So, we touched a lot on the sell side and pricing. What recommendations do you give to buyers?
With regards to?
As a transaction broker. Because they're going to always ask you, what do you think we should offer?
Well, no, as a transaction broker, our fiduciary duties, we represent the transaction.
Yeah.
We don't represent the client. Can we even call them clients? We don't represent the consumer. Technically, we represent the transaction. So it is not our responsibility or we are not allowed to, based on our duties, to tell someone this is what the house is worth. We can show them the comps in the area because that is our job, and the estimates. Hey, this is what's going on in the market. Whether you do active, pending, and closed sales, or you do like Lewis does, he narrows it down by subdivision. But legally speaking, our duties are not to tell someone, hey, I think the house is worth this, unless we are representing them in a single agency. I mean, the majority of Florida brokerages, they work as a transaction broker. Century 21 Gerard Realty operates as a transaction broker.
But not to get... sorry, go ahead.
You're really going to see somebody asking for a single agency representation, maybe an investor or something like that. Yeah. But most transactions, you're going to find people, actually brokers working as a transaction brokers.
Yeah, but not to get too much into the specifics of the legalities and all that, because the truth of the matter is you have to give I mean, they're going to ask for your opinion no matter what as a real estate agent. And so, I mean, and at the end of the day, if they're financing, there's the appraisal that you have to keep in mind as well, that, it has to come in at a price.
Right, but what I'm saying is you show them the numbers. You let the numbers speak for themselves.
Exactly. You show them the numbers, and then, I mean,
well, let's say
they're gonna ask for your opinion.
Yeah, let's say that's gonna happen. Let's say I'm representing only the buyer. Let's say I'm representing only the buyer. Okay. From my point of view, from the way I live, from the way I do everything in life, I'm not gonna try to do anything that's not fair for any side.
Of course.
So I'm not trying to lower the price so my buyer can get a even better price. I'm gonna try to always get the right price, and that's what I'm going to move is to get the right price, to make sure that he's not buying an overpriced property. That I'm going to try to make sure that he gets what he's paying for. The most of the value, that's what you said, is the value of what you get. That's what I'm trying to. That's what I will try to show to my buyers, that I'm working for them, I'm representing them, and if they are spending around $500,000-$700,000 in a property, they are getting a property that's worth $700,000, not a property that's worth $200,000 less. That's what I try to. That's our in the hypothetical case.
Approach.
I will approach like that to.
And what's your approach, Louis? Because I see that you differ. So what is it that you would do differently?
What do you mean? I mean, I did say it. If they ask for comparables, I'll provide it for them. Hey, look, these are the comparables. What do you guys think? And then from there, I wait for them to tell me what they want to offer. I'll show them, look, this is the price per square foot on this property. This is the average of all 10 comparables. And so, you kind of, I guess, help them to a certain extent, but you never tell them, let's offer this amount, because obviously that's not, that's not fine. That's not right.
No, that's not right.
That's not right. So the consumer is the one that has to, I guess, tell us what they want to offer. And then from there, we prepare the contract and we send it over, And then with inspections and things like that, we're also going to, I guess, help them in the sense that, whatever it is that they want to negotiate, whether it was a leak that needs fixing, or the electrical panel has the double tap that needs to be repaired, things that are beyond their control, they say, hey, look, I want this, and we just prepare an addendum, and we provide the addendum to the listing agent, the sellers, and we ask for credits.
I think that's why I think consumers out there, they need to make sure to properly select an agent, because you need to work with someone that is experienced, that knows how to navigate the market. The market is not something that that's easy to navigate. You got to know what you're doing, legally, in terms of legalities, in terms of negotiations. You need to know how to properly direct the person, especially when we get to things like inspections, the appraisal, all of that. You want someone that's going to hold your hand in the process, and make you feel at ease, because it's a very big, I think, financial decision for most people in America. The American dream to own a home. For some people, it's their first time purchase. They've never bought a property before. You need to make sure that the person that you're working with is going to help guide you in that process. Because if not, I mean, you're You're throwing darts
Yeah.
into the openness.
You're not gonna never know what's gonna be the outcome of that transaction. You never know if you're getting what you're paying for. So one thing I want to mention is that what I see in some places, some neighborhoods, it's over improvement.
Okay.
Over improvement is a major issue. Maybe we have the idea that we need to improve our houses, that we need to get to the edge of what we can get within our budget, no matter where we live. But there's a thing. Let's say you buy a house that's worth $500,000 in your neighborhoods. Let's say Doral, let's say Hialeah, let's say Fontainebleau, wherever you put it. And you decide you want to get a marble a kitchen, you want to get to remodel your bathroom, you want to, I don't know, build a pool, you want to do everything you get. You want to go and set a huge barbecue outside of bricks and all that nice stuff, and that's good. If you're gonna be your home for your whole life, that's good, because over improvement, your houses, you are putting a lot of cash, a lot of money in your house. You're adding some value to your house, but maybe if you want to sell it in 10 years and you want to get all that cash that you invested, are you going to get it, or are you not going to get it?
I think it's not so much about properties that do over improvement because they're going to live in it. I think it's more the people that want to sell their home and they think that they need to over improve it to get a bigger bang for their buck. I think that is the problem in the market. And then sadly enough, they just properties here in Florida are sold as is condition, right?
Yeah.
And a lot of people, they over improve their property. The property is just not worth it because they're in a neighborhood that unfortunately the other properties are not at the same level. So they end up losing more money than what they originally had intended.
I always try to tell them, I mean, when I'm going to get a listing and they're telling me that I want to do this, and that before I put the property up for sale, I'm like, yeah. And then the person who buys it is probably going to completely change everything that you did.
Yeah.
You painted it this color, you put these floors, they probably don't like it. So why are you going to spend that money up front? At the end of the day, you're going to break even or just make less money than you could have if you just put it up for sale at the correct price. Now, sorry, let me backtrack. You could paint the house.
I was gonna say that, like, keep it tidy.
You could paint the house,
clean it up.
You don't have to
pressure.
redo the kitchen, the floors, all that.
Exactly.
I mean, the roof is something that you could do that would help a lot. Even plumbing, but you don't have to really go to that extent, in my opinion.
I think all of that's gonna be negotiated in the inspection period.
So
the inspection is gonna come up with any issue. Yeah. So
I would say keep it tidy. Just always consult with your realtor. Always consult with your realtor before doing that. Before you list a property, I mean, have an honest conversation. Say, hey, I want to do X, Y, and Z. And they're going to be honest and tell you, hey, it's worth it, or hey, it's not, right? The comparables speak for themselves. And if what you want to do is an over improvement, then I mean, and he or she is recommending not to do it, then there you go. You have your answer. But I would always consult.
You have to check the numbers, because if maybe, let's say, the roof is not good and you want to do the roof, that's going to take $20,000 outside your pocket, maybe, or even more. So, what is it worth it to go to the whole process of doing your roof, or is it better for you as a seller to lower $20,000 from your budget, from your price, your asking price?
I think in all of this, it's just you gotta talk to your realtor.
At the end of the day, the outcome is the same. You spend $20,000 to get your roof done. Instead, you could have dropped $20,000 from the price and say, I'm going to adjust this because the roof needs to be done. You go clear. You are saying your roof is old or has some issues, and everything's good.
I think all of those things need to be evaluated before getting a listing, case by case.
Yeah, there's a few houses I've seen around the city. I have seen here in Doral. I've seen it in Fontainebleau. I've seen it in Westchester. I've seen it, and the last one I saw, it was in Hialeah in Lejeune. Okay. It was an extremely over improved house, because it was like let's say all the houses are green, that one's blue. It was a very different house.
The structure
changed, everything changed, and at the end of the day, the neighborhood, it's not expensive as
that house.
They want to put the house up.
Eventually, some neighborhoods they're gonna there's a word for that. They get revitalized.
Yeah.
But maybe just at that time that the person is trying to sell with those over improvements, it's just not the right time for those. And they need to wait for years to catch up. Yeah.
Exactly. If you spend 20, 40, 50, 60K improving your house and you need to sell it right now because I don't know. We were talking about you need to move. There's some issue. You need to sell it right now. Where are you gonna get that cash? You're not gonna get it. You're just not gonna get it.
I think it just brings us back to the main point. Market is controlled by supply and demand.
Supply and demand.
It's a choppy industry. I think you need to navigate it with a professional. I think don't do things that you are out of your depth for. So I think definitely it's important to consult a realtor. Have them show you the numbers, because the numbers are always going to speak for themselves.
Numbers don't lie.
Numbers don't lie.
That's it.
And for that reason, you have to call one of us, Century 21 Gerard Realty. We'll be putting our information in the caption down below. So feel free if you have any questions, any doubts. I mean, I think we're here to help. Whether you want to buy, rent, sell, or you just have a simple curiosity, that's what we're here for. And we hope that these podcasts serve as a source of information for all of your real estate doubts and questions.
Yeah, we're always willing to expand on it. If you guys have any extra questions, or if you leave comments, or follow us on social media at the Real Talk Miami. DM us, share this with other people who you think it could help, who are in the journey of buying their first property. And they'll be in good hands, guys. They'll be in good hands. Anything else?
Yeah, this is the main idea of this podcast, is helping people, getting people the information they need to know, getting people in the right place at the time when they buy a house, when they're going to sell a house. This is the main idea of everything we do.
We're in the people business. You are our
Helping
business.
people.
So thank you for tuning in.
More than our business. More than our
I didn't mean it that way. I just meant we are in the people business.
Yeah.
People business and service business. So, yeah.
As usual, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe at The Real Talk Miami. Follow us on Instagram and TikTok, The Real Talk Miami. Spotify as well.
Also,
We got a Spotify now.
Spotify and Apple Podcasts too.
The Real Talk Miami as well.
Yeah, as well, the same.
Perfect.
That's it, guys.
Thank
for
you guys.
watching.
Have a good night.
Yeah, I think we definitely need here every Friday with us.
Because she knows what she